and nothing else matters. Oh,
Hello, fellow pipers. Jan is here,
Sylvie here.
and welcome to the next episode of the 20-minute pipe show. I'm smoking this 320 Trevi with some black Mallory, and I've added some Germain's special attack flick. What about you?
I'm smoking a 320 EX Hercules La Grasa, the fat one. So it's a bigger.
Yeah.
I have to tell people that you made me do this against my will to smoke a 320. It's not actually something I like to smoke. It's too bulbous and fat for me, but I always like 320s somehow. I had 4 of them, but I stay with this older one because it has a thinner and vulcanite stem.
Yeah.
All the newer ones I had, they were fat like this till the end, and they were harder to clench. And this is the lightest one, and I kept. And I'm smoking some. Also, I have a combination made by me. Torben Dansk Latakia Special with some blends that I didn't like from GLPs and CND. I don't know, Windjammer and Speakeasy. And I put all these 3 together. And it smells like Latakia and a little bit of apple cider from the Windjammer. It's what I can smell. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, this is a normal or a little bit fuller Latakia blend. As I said, I added a little bit of special Latakia flake from Germain that has almost none of Latakia.
Yeah.
Not that I would be tasting. So, a good English blend.
Yeah, special Latakia flake from Germany. It has almost no Latakia, which is strange with the name. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we were speaking about 80s and the 90s yesterday, and stuff we liked and we still like from the 80s and from the 90s.
So you were born at the end of 70s.
79, yeah.
And a few years before you. So in the 80s, we were able already, especially in the upper 80s, we were able to, let's say, use some gadgets that were available back then. That just came out in the 80s. You remember something from that time?
Yeah, I now have a reborn love for Casio watches, like this one. I remember my father one day entering the door, and he was like, and I looked, and he threw me something, and it was a Casio watch, and somehow that sparkled my love for Casio watches, and but I didn't take care of them. I had 2 actually in the past, and I didn't like them in the 2000s and in the 90s. But now seeing them, and now that I like almost everything from the 80s and the 90s, which I didn't like too much back then actually, sparkled an interest again about the 80s and 90s. So I remember Casio watches. You also had a data bank, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else do you remember from that time?
Well, the first thing is that I was in my primary school then, in the beginning of the 80s, and I remember that I received a wristwatch, a classical wristwatch that I think it was already running on battery, or it was you needed to wind it or what, something like that. So
Yeah.
I remember that one day I was feeling really adventurous, and I opened the watch, I took it apart
Uh-huh.
with the aim to actually put it back together and so on. But when a child opens a watch with all that mechanisms inside, there is no way. There is no way that I put this, and I think that I just hide everything. And when my mother found out that what I did, well, it was not good.
Yeah, yeah.
And after
Something
that,
else that,
yeah,
sorry, sorry, please.
yeah, and after that, few years later on, that Casio data bank was. I got it as a gift from a friend. It was not new, but I got it, and it was interesting. Like you could do some calculations on it, and something new, something special at the time. But it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it's very strange how with age nostalgia comes. And I remember these watches for a while when I was a young lad, let's say, and I wanted to look tough and cool. These watches looked so geeky to me. I hate them. They were everywhere. You could find them for free, maybe. And I didn't like them for a while. But now with the nostalgia that I have, and I remember my first computer made by my father. So he worked in an electronic transistors, or not transistors, chip factory here in Romania. And my father always built amplifiers, and in his spare time he actually made for my guitar first amplifier and first guitar pedal, whatever. But he made me a computer called HC85, and we had I can play some games from tapes, tapes, music tapes. You insert them there, you wait, some noises came out, and you can then play a game. But one of my friends from school, that his father wasn't working in an embassy, brought him an Atari game, and mine, this tape game looked like from the Middle Ages. He had this silver Atari. My computer was homemade, black and ugly, and his Atari had those like 8-track. I don't know how they are called. Something rectangular with the picture on it with what the game is about, and it looks so cool. And just insert that, and you can play. Yeah, Atari. Yeah, game I remember.
Yeah, I actually had some friends that already had some computers like Commodore and ZX Spectrum and stuff like that, and I was able to play some games at their house. But later on, another family friend, one of them, one of the sons, bought and this was maybe end of the 80s to the 90s, let's say.
Yeah,
He bought his first PC, and we were playing games there, and but it was a little bit further on, but nevertheless. Otherwise, we had these handheld Nintendo Game Boy consoles that we could play different games on it. Also had the
Tetris, maybe Tetris, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they were different. Some of them were like Nintendo Game Boy. Later on, there was a lot of consoles that you could play with different games on them, different companies, and with hundreds of different or similar games and so on. So that was like a big thing then. So you could go out with your friends and you could play one game and you lend your friend to play another and so on. And this was like, wow, at that time. But
yeah,
later on, when the friend that I just talked about bought the PC, I've spent numerous afternoons after the school at his
yeah,
house, and we were like playing different games like Doom and Duke and stuff like that. And later on, uh,
yeah,
mother came every evening. She came into the room at like 8 o'clock in the evening, and she said, "It's 8 o'clock.
yeah.
You need to stop." But we were family friends. It was not like a problem back then. And then I went home with my bike, or I walked home, and it was another day that I spent with my friend and playing games. And this is also why I understand the children of this age, let's say, when this high technology is present, computers, games, and stuff like that, they actually need to play at least a bit these games, because they otherwise they don't fit into the group, into the group of friends. And it's good for them to know how to use this, how to use the keyboard, how to use different consoles. We had all the PlayStations from the first to the last now, from PlayStation 5. So, and I'm still playing games today. What I usually play is, but today it's a bit different. They're very high tech, capable machines that with the good graphics and stuff like that. So usually what I was playing last 10 years was like Sniper Ghost Warrior. Then there's another game that I cannot remember now, but now I'm playing like Way of the Hunter and the Hunting Simulator and stuff like that. More or less walking around in the nature and trying to get close to the animals and score some good trophies and remove some uh, genetically not well developed animals and stuff like that. So they don't.
Yeah. I also like very much now the way these musical gadgets from the past look like Technics decks with amplifier, with radio, and cassette and CD player, and Bang& Olufsen, an incredible company that influenced even Apple when they created their produces, like very uh, clean design, very minimalist and clean design. So we looked yesterday at some photos with the Bang& Olufsen and some Technics, and I remember when I bought my first Sony Walkman. My God, it was like I was reborn again. I went far away into the middle of the city. They had it only in one store, and I remember how happy I was to have a Sony Walkman. Again, something from the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, we were able to. My sister and myself, we both got these Sony Walkmans. So listening to the music, and until these game consoles from Nintendo and other stuff, we didn't care about batteries. And but after we discovered this, of course you needed to have batteries on hand, or you were recharging the batteries all the time and so on. We even had that boombox, the big radio. My uncle brought it from Germany, or I think it went like 4 or 6 big batteries went inside, and
Yeah.
take it out and play some music outside. And we didn't do the break dance or stuff like that, but just listening to music.
Actually, my grandfather owned a boombox like that for listening to the radio. My uncle still have that there. But do you remember those big 9-volt batteries? Big with some metal lips, like yeah,
Yeah,
those disappeared.
yeah, they maybe the standard has changed, and I know I use them because I was playing with that Pioneer uh, sets that you could build something out that was then uh, either moving or just rotating or whatever. You were using these uh, batteries to actually drive or to power the movement of certain stuff. Or so, yeah,
Yeah, I used those batteries. I had an electrical train, and it needed batteries like that. Yeah, I also remember the how do you call those? I don't know why this keeps coming on the screen. Uh, those photo cameras that we spoke about, that made instant photos.
Oh, Polaroid cameras.
Polaroid, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
that
those
that
were
was a big thing back then. To
yeah,
actually make a photo and then the photo was produced. We waited a little bit for a minute and there it was. And it
yeah,
was I think we had like older cameras uh, at home, but I know that a family friend had a Polaroid camera, and then everything changed when these digital cameras came. You only had the memory stick, and when it was
yeah,
full, you just inserted in the computer, and you download it, put it back in, change the battery or charge the battery, and off you go. And that was the time when we stopped making photos. So the photos was before with the classic camera was we always took great care of what photos are we going to make. There was like 36 or
yeah,
32 or 36 photos
yeah,
on film, and when we did it, you went to the Photoshop. They made the photos for you. You came back, you picked them up. So you really did take care of that. You didn't make just any photos. Like
yeah,
today, we have really good capable cameras on our phones. Not as good as if you have a good camera just to
yeah.
make photos or movies. And all those photos are usually somewhere in the computers, external hard drives, on the CDs, DVDs, and stuff like that. The older time, and we are not making them anymore. We are not making the albums. I mean, you can have them on your computer, and they are like showing on your screen or the background and stuff like that. Or you can buy a framed a photo display that you can put somewhere on the shelf or the wall, and the photos are just rotating there.
Yeah, I always think about this stuff. I mean, we have family albums with pictures from 60 years ago, let's say. I always think about how older technology actually lasts longer. Imagine the Romans, the Egyptians, with their writing and the statues in stone. Although it's a lesser technology, let's say, it will last forever. While what we are doing today, everything gets lost so quickly. Every time I change the computer, a phone, everything was lost. Nothing lasts, it seems. Even if you put them on a different medium or something, when you try to see them in 20 years, you can see 10 years old YouTube videos. They look like crap. So they don't store them in good quality. You know, that's the thing. So even if you have them, I don't know where you will be able to see them in 30 years. So
I don't know.
all the technology.
I have all my videos, copies of the videos on my external hard drive, so I'm not.
Yeah, but when that will disappear, hard drives like CD disappeared, like everything else.
Yeah, but I will have to buy a new technology and just copy it on that one and so on. I have like videos from my children when they were like 1 day old and so on.
Yeah, let me tell our younger friends how strange this is. So I was born in 1979, where we had vinyl. Are those called?
Gramophone for playing vinyl
Yeah,
plates.
not gramophone, whatever. But these bigger discs, how the hell they were called? Vinyl,
LPs.
LPs. Yeah. Then we got the reel to reel, those big magnetophones. They were called here, reel to reel, huge stuff, huge apparatus, huge gadget. Then we got the tapes. It's all this in my lifetime. We got the tapes, then the CDs, then the mini CDs,
And then the DVDs.
then the DVDs, then
And then it
no,
was the USB stick.
we also got the movies on the big VHS tapes.
VHS, that was another thing, yeah. In
Yeah,
the
VHS. When I was born, you only had black and white TVs here in Romania. Later, we got because we had only one television and it was black and white. You didn't need a color TV. So in my lifetime, black and white TV, vinyl, reel to reel, tapes, VHS, CD, mini disc. What did you say for movies on the disc?
Oh, the DVDs.
Yeah, DVDs. And then everything like this disappeared. But all this in our lifetime. We
We were even,
traveled such a long way.
yeah, even the Blu-ray was in fashion for a few years. I was
Yeah.
able to play it on the PlayStation, but this format didn't live through. Okay, so I think that we gave our viewers a number of topics to think about. So if you guys and girls who are watching this have your own memories of the 80s and how it was back then, put it in the comments. Just did you use some of this technology, or what did you like the most in 80s? And this will be it for today. Anything else, Silvio?
80s and 90s, baby, they were the best times.
Have a pleasant weekend. Have a lot of smokes.
Pleasant.
Pleasant, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.